Most agency owners that I once was and that I speak to on a daily basis are absolutely blindfolded. Most people know the exact metrics that they need to hit their first $20,000 a month, but they're not executing on them every single day. If you honestly knew the missing key that's holding you back from hitting your first $20,000 a month, or even just scaling your agency past the plateau that it's at right now, you'd already be there. But truth is, you're not. It's a hard pill to swallow, and honestly, I was stuck at $2,000-3,000 a month in my agency, working at Barnes & Noble's, trying to buy a bunch of books to read about marketing, sales, psychology, self-improvement, thinking that that was the missing puzzle piece that was holding me back from the success that I so wanted. Now, I've been marketing for software companies for a little over a year now. I help other SMMA owners hit their first $20,000 a month predictably in 90 days. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how you can break down these step-by-step metrics and make your success undeniable. Let's hop straight into it. So here on the Stripe screen is what my income looked like May 18th, 2024, okay? So May 1st to May 31st, you can tell. This is about last year around this time, I made $1, okay? Mind you, I was running my agency, I had my YouTube channel, but I had no income this month. And this was the month that the only month that I didn't make any money out of my entire history of starting my online business. And so I was extremely upset and I was just frustrated. I was kicking my head against the wall. I had taken about 20 sales calls, mind you, during this time. Nothing was clicking. And the next month, something actually changed. If you go to June of 2024, so about last year around this time, I hit my first $7,000 a month in cash collected, 6.8, roughly 7K, we'll call it, from other payment processors and stuff like that, okay? And the rest is history, okay? This was the month that I went from making $1, literally $1, to making $7,000. I'm gonna show you guys on the screen here, on this little Miro board, how exactly I was able to do this, how I was able to exponentially increase my income, and then later on, eventually hit my first $20,000 a month in the agency and scale up from there, okay? Now, there's a few components that I want you to understand, but firstly, I want to show you guys some credibility. If that wasn't enough, I am booking about right now 60 to 70 meetings every single month, so every 30 days, at around a 40 to 50% close rate for my agency, okay? So these are mainly calls. I'd probably say 3/4 of these calls are with software companies that I get in front of, that I market for with paid advertising on LinkedIn and on Meta and stuff like that. That's how my agency fulfills for them. And then I would say probably about 1/3 of these calls, or 1/4 of these calls, are with fellow agency owners from this YouTube channel, okay? I probably book, I don't know, a couple calls a week from this YouTube channel, just in specifically. So firstly, obviously, I have the exact step-by-step program in my inner circle group where I show you the exact infrastructure, step-by-step metrics, key hires, things like that you need to make. Everything's in there. It's obviously the first link down below if you're interested, but nonetheless, that's get you some value. So the first thing you have to do as an agency owner to essentially copy and paste me step-by-step is you have to decommoditize our agency and your agency as a whole. I'm supposed to say your agency, okay? Now, this really comes down to offer clarity and market price point. What happens is, in the marketplace right now, there's an abundance of fluff, okay? There are a multitude of other agency owners literally talking about the same exact thing that you are talking about. There's an abundance of agency owners that are essentially just proving so many different things to themselves, and they're all offering the same stuff. There's a lot of fluff, okay? Now, the only thing that cuts through the fluff and what a lot of agency owners compete on is pricing structure. So that's why you see a lot of pay on results, or pay per results, excuse me. Because that is the only leverage point that beginner agency owners can actually find out in order to get clients to sign with them, or else nobody want to sign with them because who are you, basically? Now, what cuts through the fluff here as well is case studies and testimonials. In order for you to hit your first $20,000 a month and to predictably make $20,000 every single month, we have to have a proven outbound system. And the proven outbound system that I said, that I talk about, and I teach, and that I implement into your business in this inner circle group, it's 90 days long, is LinkedIn Sales Navigator and Find Email. Those are the two softwares that we use, okay? And so I predictably have a lead list. And so obviously I'm just kind of running things through. You will predictably have a lead list that you can source using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You'll use a software called Find Email to scrape those leads from the platform, from the database, and then export them obviously into Google Sheets or something like that, okay? Now, what I want you to understand is that success becomes extremely easy once you hit your metrics. And the metrics are defined as the actions you have to take, you must take daily to remain on track. Okay. And so if you source 5,000 leads from your prospects and 5,000 leads from a specific database, you need to be able to say, look, I'm going to send 100 outbounds per day, and I'm going to, for a fact, get 4 to 5% positive responses, so positive response rate from those outbounds. I know for a fact I can have conversations with 4 or 5 new prospects daily. And me, my setter, my VA, whoever is handling your outbound messages, will be able to predictably book at about half of those people per day. So 1 to 2 sales calls per day. And in return, let's say you close probably 1 client every other day. So you're closing about 10 to 15 clients per month. And let's say you fixed up your pricing structure. So now you're charging, $2,000 to $4,000 a month retainers with social proof and everything that I show on these videos. You do the math right there. That's roughly, 20, 30, 40K, whatever it is. It just fluctuates. Let me give you guys a better baseline. That way you guys can actually see this number. So it's 20, 30, $40,000, whatever. It fluctuates. So let's say 10K to 40K, okay? Once we get our business and our agency to this point, acquisition becomes somewhat of a dream. You wake up to calls every single day, which obviously I've been living this for over a few years now. Obviously there's months where it dips, there's months where strategies have to be, strategies get commoditized, you have to figure out different avenues. But nonetheless, I've been using the LinkedIn Sales Navigator strategy, and this is what I teach for the previous, probably I'd say year and a half. Now, the only contingencies that will play into this are if you do something stupid with your account and your account gets flagged, or if you have a terrible outbound message, or anything of that nature. Look, most agency owners already know exactly how to track metrics, and you guys already know the exact metrics that you need to track and that you need to do. The problem doesn't come from executing. The problem comes from everything in between you sending out that initial outbound message to your prospect to then them booking on the call. And that's where a litany of problems come into your business, because let's be real, you can fulfill pretty well for your agency. I'd assume you have at least a handful of case studies by this time. You have some sort of authority and trust from other people in case you need to have some sort of a referral, or in case you're a prospect before they sign as a client says, hey, I want to reach out to one of your clients and ask them how well you do as an agency. I've had that before. That's totally normal. But in the reality of things, there is a litany of puzzle pieces that are on the table that aren't yet constructed as the full picture. And it's my job and your job as well to fix those for our own individual businesses, because if we don't have a business. We have a cash machine that's in front of us that is literally just like ran out of batteries, or it's unplugged from the wall. It's essentially useless because you have a good product or service, but it's not yet being used to its fullest potential. So this is exactly why I've broken everything down into systematized problems that you are probably facing as an agency owner or as an SMMA owner. Obviously, those two terms I'm using in correlation with each other because they're pretty much the same damn thing, okay? Offer revamp is the first thing, because guess what? You can hit every single one of your metrics all day long until the cows come home, right? But if your offer isn't attracted to an outbound audience, which, let's be real, if you're not hitting your metrics, that's a good indicator that it is not attractive to the outbound audience, you will not sign any clients. And unfortunately, your offer is dog. Okay, the first thing we tackle is offer revamp. You might be watching this and thinking, okay, why is this guy talking about offer revamp? This is kind of weird. In reality, your offer can always be better. And by just tweaking a few words, literally just a few pieces of copy in your message, that can mean the difference between you making $5,000 a month and you making $15,000 or $25,000 a month. That's simply all that it comes down to. Number two is installing the outbound funnel. In order for us to predictably drive traffic to our offer, we have to be predictably getting in front of people. You guys have seen those memes on Instagram where it's like, bro will do anything but send outreach. And it's like that video of Ashton Hall with like the ice bucket thing or whatever. And he's like putting his face in, he's doing his morning routine. He's doing everything but outreach to get clients. And so the same thing is done here. People will do anything, make YouTube videos, journal, meditate, go buy stuffed animals for their girlfriend, do anything but actually the only tangible thing that makes the most sense to get prospects and calls booked on the calendar. So it's a little bit of a wake-up call for some of you guys, because honestly, I had struggled with this for a very long time, and it wasn't until somebody slapped me in the face until I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm focusing on the wrong things, and the reason why I'm not making the money that I want to make is because of that. And that's why you saw that quantum jump from literally making $1 in May of 2024 all the way to taking home, around $6,500, $7,000 profit cash the very next 30 days, okay? Because I just switched what I had to do, and the rest was history. Scaled up from there past $20,000 a month, okay? So this is what I'm talking about, all right? The outbound funnel is the most crucial part. Inbound funnel, we want to install this, but have it on the side. This is going to be our authority funnel, because guess what? People who see you from LinkedIn, people who see you from these different platforms, they're going to want to know who you are. I will always click on somebody's profile real quick if I can app a message from them, no matter how many I get every single day, just to kind of see who they are, what they're about, what they kind of do, some of their background. I don't really care too much about it. I'm just like going to look at it for like 3 to 4 seconds. And if I don't see anything that catches my eye, I'm already out. This inbound funnel drastically helps out with everything. In fact, a lot of you guys watching this YouTube video right now, I get 100 to 200 views per video, and people are like, how are you signing clients? But in reality, I'm booking 3 to 4 calls every 100 to 300 views, I'd say. And then I'm closing clients into the program, and you guys are getting an extensive amount of value into CMR Consulting just from my YouTube videos. So you're just coming from my YouTube videos. Again, first link right down below. We signed three clients last week into CMR Consulting. They're now installing this inbound funnel. They're getting their offers revamped. They're installing an outbound funnel as well, and all these other strategies I'm about to go over. And they're continuously, like Andrew in the program right here, I'll show you guys the program right here on school, and they're all starting to sign clients, okay? Here's the classroom section. Here's the create revenue infrastructure. Here's everything that I teach in the program, okay? So with that being said, this is exactly how I am doing it. For me, for my clients, how everybody and their mom is doing it now, okay? So I'm giving you the tried and true techniques that have been working for the previous few years. So let's hop back into what exactly is the next order of magnitude in terms of fixing problems. The next thing we need to focus on is, as soon as we revamp our offer, we're getting leads, we're getting calls on the calendar, we have to have a systematized way for these prospects to actually show up on the calls. Not necessarily showing up and just saying, hey, but showing up and actually being present, actually being pre-nurtured. And we do this by installing something that I like to call the hammer them strategy. The hammer them strategy is something I got from Jeremy Haynes. A few of you guys have seen this guy before. I'm just going to show you a quick picture of him. You may have seen him. I think he's an 8-figure agency owner guy. 7 figures. This was back a few years ago when he was 23. He's definitely not 23 anymore. This is what he looks like right now, though. So he's pretty much the GOAT. The hammer them strategy is a strategy that I have implemented from him, okay? And the hammer them strategy essentially just consists of one thing. Between the time your prospect books in a call and by the time they show up to the call, there is a window. And in this window, you are to blast them with content assets. You are to blast them with testimonials. You are to blast them with not necessarily just SMS messages saying, hey, your call's in 24 hours, but we're going to pre-nurture them, okay? A lot of you guys who are hesitant about not necessarily working with me, but a lot of you agency owners that are around that, $4,000 to $5,000 a month, or maybe you're hovering around $10,000 a month, say, yo, Patrick, I already know exactly how to do this. Like, I know how to set up those Zapier automations and Calendar. Like, I already have those automations, dude. Yeah, you're not at the revenue goals you're at and you want to be at currently, because this is only one component of the actual system. Okay? There are leaks in your pipeline, and that's a fact, because if there weren't any leaks, the goal you set, which is $25,000 a month, guess what? You would have already been there by now, dude. So drop the ego, become less arrogant, and understand that, look, there's gaps between where you are right now and where you want to be. And it might not be the hammer them strategy, but guess what? It could be something in a completely other vertical. It could be something in the offers section. It could be something with the way your outbound position. It could be something even with the way you have your content displaced on the internet. There could be a specific, all of this stuff, okay? And so what I'm showing you here is the full end-to-end system that will guarantee this end result, a 20K a month agency. Because if you follow these inputs correctly and you are positioned well in the marketplace, it is undeniable that you make that amount. There's mathematically nothing holding you back from hitting this number when everything is dialed in. So that's the hammer them strategy. I'm only saying that because I got a lot of resistance from the hammer them strategy. People are like, look, I've already done this. Like, I'm doing this right now. It's working. I already know how to do it. It's like, yes, but that's one part of it, y'all. So that's pretty much it. I struggled with this for the longest. The hammer them strategy is something that I sucked at. I had just text and SMSs being sent out to my prospects every single second of the day until the cows came home. But in reality, that wasn't even the thing that was messing me up. I had issues because, first of all, the right people weren't even being put into the hammer them strategy. So if the right people and the right prospects are not even being put into the hammer them strategy, then it's not going to work to its fullest effectiveness, because then you have a problem all the way back. I keep on messing this up. I apologize. There's a problem back over here. It's not with this. Okay, there's a domino effect. The problem might reveal itself at this level and at this level when you're taking calls, but in reality, the problem is all the way back over here. You just weren't even aware of it. All right? That's the entire point of it. Installing key hires is the next thing that we have to understand when it comes down to scaling your business effectively. Let's be real. I don't want you at $20,000 or $25,000 or even $30,000 a month in your agency, continuously worried about if you're sending the right amount of messages every single day, continuously worried about if you're booking in this amount of calls, you got to take this, you got to do this. There's a lot of system refinement. I don't want you thinking about that. I have key hires, appointment setters, closers, etc., VAs sourced for you inside of the program. I literally have everything laid out for you. It's essentially copy and paste. Monkey see, monkey do. Clients get results. You're a client, you get results. I'm an agency owner as well. I got the same results. I just show you how I did it. You can copy and paste. That's pretty much it, okay? It's not hard. It's just math. That's why the title of this video is something along those lines. Like, it's just math. And that should make you feel extremely comfortable, and that should increase your confidence levels, because if you understand that you do these metrics as well as have these systems in alignment, you are green. Like, you are green. You're green as hell. All right, a little bit of an oxymoron there. But key hires is only a part of it as well. System refinement means your KPIs, your metrics, your trackings are being dialed in to the fullest extent. Like I said, you're continuously hitting whatever your metrics look like. Again, I just kind of gave you guys a little broad example right here. 100 outbounds per day, aim for a 45% response rate. You know, you can even amp this up to 200. Obviously, the positive response rate sometimes does drop depending on your total addressable market, who specifically you're going after for your social media marketing agency. You might have a total addressable market of maybe just a few thousand, honestly, a few thousand people you can actually service your services to. And so that number will gradually decrease as time goes on. Again, these are all things that I want to make sure off the bat you are set up for success with when it comes down to your offer, targeting, where you're positioned at, who you're helping, why you're helping them, what's your unique angle, everything like that. This is, again, all stuff that we go over in the modules as well. With the infrastructure, with the targeting, we want to make sure that we have everything dialed in before you even really hit your first sales call. That's extremely important. And so all those things are factors. Like, I'm just placing these little seeds of thought in your head to have you understand that, look, it might off the bat, you might be screwed, because who you're going after, not only necessarily is your total addressable market small, but you might have even the wrong message initially being sent out to them, and then everything else has a falling domino effect, which is then screwed up. And so now your outbound messages are being sent every single day. That's perfect, but it's not even to the right avatar, and it's not even to the right target market, and you're not positioned the right way. And so because of that, your positive response rate drops from 4 to 5% to 1 to 1.5%. You're now getting a significant less amount of prospects interested in your service every single day, at most 1 to 2, and then you're now booking in like 0 sales calls per day and probably like 2 to 3 per week. Okay. And so this number drops, and you can tell it's a domino effect. And so because of the simple fact that like we can identify these things off the bat, this gives us the upper hand. Okay. You will drastically get the upper hand, not necessarily just having like another pair of eyeballs look after this for you, but you will gain the upper hand from every other agency owner out there by simply positioning yourself better in the marketplace. This is option B of how it could look. I want option A for you, okay? I don't want you to have to struggle with an offer that you're not quite sure is proven yet. Again, if you haven't sold $10,000 to $30,000 in profit of that offer, I wouldn't say it's necessarily proven to the marketplace just yet, especially if you're an agency owner, okay? What I want you to understand is that if you're under that level of selling your offer, there's quite a few tweaks and a few things that need to happen. And even if you're past that point, your offer is somewhat validated. If you don't have the right system and the predictable amount of metrics and the predictable amount of offerings and positionings that you are sending and that you are actually getting in front of and that you are showcasing yourself to, it's not going to be good. And as well as installing an inbound funnel. You know, you're going to like, my outbound messages perform very, very, very well because I already have my inbound funnel in place. You know, there's no point in saying I should have done this 6 months ago because, you know, you definitely could have, but you didn't. And that's totally fine. It's just the best time to start was 6 months ago. Yeah, but second best time is right now. So I installed my inbound funnel, I'd probably say a little over a year and a half ago, something like that. If I go down to the last video, the very first video, excuse me, something like a year, maybe even 2 years ago. No, it was like a year ago. Okay, yeah, it was like a year and a half ago, something like that. I mean, you could see this is like me, just my first 10K month for my client, showcasing that, just different mindset videos, how I plan to scale to 50K a month, just different stuff about me going through my agency and everything like that. So as you can tell, I sort of have a little bit of authority, which certainly helps out with my outbound messaging. But more importantly, I have the metrics dialed in. And the most important thing is I have the copy and paste playbook. Like I said, I've been in the game for a couple of years now, been doing this, been seeing people come up, been seeing people go right back down. I've seen a lot of people make a life-changing amount of money and it gets blown the next 6 months and they go right back to the bottom and they're over there doing this. Consistency is my main driving factor, and that's exactly why I have built what I want to build, and that's exactly why I built what I have built so far, because I care so much about longevity and consistency and giving back. I don't necessarily want to sacrifice all of the stuff that I have been doing for nothing. So building out a program like this isn't so I can sell you a program necessarily and like make a shit ton of money. It's because this honestly builds a lot of authority for me, and that can be shown to software companies. So it helps on my agency as well. And because I have a platform here on YouTube, it might be small, but I'm still attracting a decent amount of you guys every single day. Because I have a platform, I feel in some sense obligated to actually use it. So that's why I have what I have. That's why I've built what I've built. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So with that being said, if you want the most predictable, you want a fast track way and 90 days guaranteed to hit $20,000 in your agency, we partner together. You get a couple things. You get 10 one-to-one calls every single week for those 10 to 11 weeks. It's a 3-month long program. You'll get access to all my backend modules on school. You get like 2 years access to everything. Thriving community, things like that. You guys get the gist. It's the first thing right down below if you're interested. I hope this video helped. I hope this video brought some light to some of the blind spots that you may not even be aware of. I hope this video helped in terms of breaking down some, particular issues that you might have in your agency. I look forward to speaking with you on the phone soon, and just watch my other videos, take some value. If you're ready, jump on in. I'll see you on the other side. Let's freaking get scaling. Congratulations. You're an absolute G. Peace.